We go. Hell yeah. Oh, it's food.
This is the heist that sent shockwaves through combat sports, the most scandalous night in T-Mobile Arena's existence.
Obviously delivered in the main event, capped off with a war. Just give us your thoughts on Justin Gaethje and Paddy Pimblett delivering a 5-round battle.
Yeah, I mean, what a couple. So Paddy Pimblett at the weigh-ins yesterday says, I'm going to knock this motherfucker out tomorrow. And I was like, that's interesting. And he never abandoned that game plan. Even when, he got dropped a couple times, I kept waiting for him. Like, he's eventually going to have to shoot and try to submit him. Now, I didn't know Paddy Pimblett had a chin like that till tonight. And, yeah, absolute dogfight in a war, and much respect to both guys.
We haven't seen Justin yet, so we don't know what his status is physically. But, I mean, is the interim, is the unification fight have to be next? Or is there a case if he's hurt and needs to be out for a while?
Apparently he's 100%. So we sent Paddy Pimblett straight to the hospital, and then we're going to send Gaethje too. And Gaethje's like, believe me, I've been in plenty of wars. I'm good. So as far as we know right now, he's healthy.
Dana, I remember when Paddy first arrived in the UFC, you were saying stuff like, well, his entrance is good and it's all well and good to get the fans, but he needs to be able to fight. Obviously, we've seen him have great wins before, but to show the durability he had in that fight tonight, do you feel like even though he lost, he will be considered one of the best in that division moving forward?
No doubt about it. I mean, he was the favorite tonight. I think that's what fucked him. Every other one, he's the underdog and everybody thinks he's going to lose. Tonight, he's the favorite. I don't think that his game plan was the greatest. Obviously, tonight he showed he is tough, he is durable, and almost impossible. I mean, especially against Gaethje. And you're eating those punches from him. It's one thing to say, listen, I'm going to come out. I know I believe in my durability. I believe in my chin, and I'm going to go toe-to-toe with this guy. But when it starts to not work, at some point you got to say, you know what? It's the third round. I got 2 rounds left.
When Joe Rogan started screaming during round 2, you knew you were watching something that looked like straight-up fight manipulation happening live on pay-per-view.
I really wanted to finish him, but I loved teaching him a lot. He said my face was not going to look the same after the fight, and his would look the exact same. So as soon as it was over, I was like, well, look at your face, motherfucker. It does not look the same. So for him to, and he's going to learn from this. You cannot have that mentality when you come in there. He needs to accept the worst possible outcome, and that's how you perform the best, when the pressure's the highest. You have to learn these lessons. Again, his mindset going into that fight was not good. It's not how you cannot do that like this. False confidence is terrible. Terrible. It'll kill you every time. And that's what he had.
Look, the record books are going to show Justin Gaethje winning that interim lightweight belt with a unanimous decision over Paddy Pimblett. Those 48-47 cards became official the second Bruce Buffer announced them. But here's what those scores don't tell you. We're diving into the corruption, the illegal tactics, and the questionable refereeing that might have stolen a victory from the rightful winner.
That I'm glad it's over and I never want to do it again. I'm like, the fans don't ever ask for a rematch or anything like that, because that would have never. I'm like, I'm glad. He's unique, man, and he's one of my favorite guys to watch. So like, but if you want to beat Justin Gaethje, you have to. So he's a forward fighter and a pressure fighter that he will stand in the pocket. And he's gonna throw everything he got in that pocket. If you don't meet him, you'll get chewed up. So Paddy, the way to beat a guy who does this, very violent, aggressive pressure fighter, you have to meet him. You have to throw when he throws. So you got to be brave, and you have to go when he goes in between his shots. If you do that, you got a fair shot. If you don't do that, if you're not brave and courageous and throw when he throws in between his shots, it's going to be a really long night. It's going to be a hard night for you.
Did Paramount Plus pressure officials to crown an American champion for their streaming launch? How did Mark Goddard miss what might be the dirtiest foul in championship fight history?
Paddy's not bad, dude. Paddy's not bad. He's very beatable, and Gaethje's very beatable as well. But when it goes into the passion and how upsetting Justin Gaethje has always been about not getting that real title shot, and they just keep dangling it right there again. Paddy's in for a new treat, right? Paddy's the one that's never fought for a belt. he's going in there. He's going to be trying to, you know, get that stuff. He's going to feel a little bit more fresher. He's going to have that little bit of excitedness.
This controversy is exploding across every platform. We're examining the fixing accusations, the vicious eye attacks that left Paddy fighting basically blind, and judges' decisions that make zero sense.
If he gets it done, it's because Justin's just so shot. He's been in so many wars. You know, he's been around the company so long, and that knockout to Max Holloway, he just hasn't recovered from. So if he gets a win, that, then yeah, there. But this is like, seems like a smash spot. Like, if I was able to bet fighting, which we're not allowed to because the feds got involved because that moron coach James Krause screwed it up for all of us, but this seems like a smash spot on Gaethje because everybody's on, and all the public is driving the money line for Paddy Pimblett to be the favorite. But you know, I think Justin's still a tough dog, and he's going to come out there and give his all, and he doesn't want to lose this fight. This could be his last fight if he loses. So, you know, I think he's going to put Paddy to the test. And, you know, Paddy, you know, usually has to control the wrestling aspect, put guys to the ground to get his submission and to get his striking game working. So, you know, I don't know. Justin's shot on one hand. They're trying to give him an easy win on a silver platter to Paddy to build him up. You know, he's got a little bowl cut and a little mouth, and they think he's the next star. So, I don't know. It's a tough fight to judge. You know, how much is left in the tank for Justin versus a guy that's absolute nobody that hasn't actually accomplished anything in the sport yet. We shall.
By the time we're done breaking this down, you'll see why Paddy the Baddie didn't just lose a decision. He walked straight into an ambush. Rewind to the exact second everything changed. Round 2 was underway, and Paddy Pimblett was stunning everyone inside that building. He'd survived Gaethje's early pressure. Those brutal calf kicks kept coming, but he pushed through them with relentless forward movement. His straight left was connecting clean, and you could feel the energy shift, because this kid from Liverpool was proving he belonged with the elite. Then disaster struck. Right in the middle of a crazy exchange, Gaethje throws a left hook, but freeze that moment and study it frame by frame. Look where that thumb ends up. His fist was wide open. That thumb drove straight into Paddy's right eye socket. It went deep. It was vicious. Joe Rogan caught it instantly. You can hear the shock in his voice screaming about how insane it looked, because that eye got completely wrecked. That thumb disappeared into the socket, and normally with any competent referee, the fight stops immediately. The doctor gets called in, points get deducted. Don't forget, Goddard had already warned Gaethje about keeping his fingers extended earlier. But what did Mark Goddard actually do? Nothing at all. He let the violence continue while Paddy was clearly struggling to see out of his right eye, and Gaethje's reaction was like watching a predator sense weakness. He immediately started hunting that damaged side with heavy overhand rights that shifted the entire momentum. This is exactly where these fixing theories are gaining steam. How does an experienced official completely miss such an obvious foul, especially after giving multiple finger warnings? Was there outside pressure to keep things moving for the streaming debut? Someone needs to answer these questions, because that eye strike changed everything. Before that thumb landed, Paddy was winning exchanges. After it connected, he was basically fighting half blind. That's not competition, that's cheating. The scorecards are where this scandal really takes off, because when Bruce Buffer read those numbers, 48-47, 49-46, 49-46, you could see total disbelief on faces throughout the crowd. 49-46? Seriously, that means Gaethje won 4 complete rounds, but even die-hard Gaethje supporters were admitting online that Paddy clearly took rounds 3 and 5. He was outstriking Justin badly in the 3rd and nearly finished him completely in those final moments of round 5. So how exactly do you award 4 rounds to Gaethje? This screams predetermined result. This looks like those judges already knew their decision before the fighters even entered the octagon. This is the exact corruption we saw during boxing's most shameful era, and now it's obviously infected mixed martial arts. Consider the business motivations here. This marked Paramount Plus's first major live event. The UFC desperately needs subscriber growth among American audiences, so who serves as a better marketing vehicle for US viewers? The unpredictable Liverpudlian who might say anything during interviews, or the patriotic American hero like Gaethje? Corporate executives obviously prefer a Gaethje victory to stabilize their promotional plans. When you analyze that 49-46 scorecard, it reads less like judging incompetence and more like deliberate manipulation. They wanted absolute certainty that regardless of Paddy's performance, he'd never leave that cage wearing championship gold. Now, these bribery allegations are absolutely torching social media everywhere. There's video circulating that shows Gaethje's corner having extended conversations with cage-side officials right before the opening bell. These interactions might be completely normal, but considering everything that followed afterward, the ignored violations, the biased scoring, fans are studying every detail. Gaethje built his legacy as pure violence and entertainment, but this win was built on illegal tactics that broke every rule in the book. Those headbutts during clinch work totally ignored. The eye pokes and finger extensions completely overlooked. The fence grabs that prevented Paddy's takedown attempts in round 4, absolutely dismissed. When one competitor gets permission to cheat while his opponent doesn't, that defines match manipulation. Look at Paddy's reaction after the announcement. Usually when Paddy survives questionable decisions like that Jared Gordon situation a while back, he gets animated and talks about his dominance. But this time, he looked defeated before Buffer even touched the microphone. He sensed the setup. You could read it all over his face. He wasn't just battling Gaethje, he was fighting the entire establishment, corrupt judging, and a predetermined outcome. Even Joe Rogan, who typically maintains neutrality during live broadcasts, couldn't mask his shock at the complete lack of point deductions. When your commentary team is practically demanding officials to enforce basic rules, something is fundamentally wrong. Don't overlook the medical situation either. After that initial eye strike in round 2, the cage-side physician entered the octagon. He examined Paddy for maybe 5 seconds total, no proper light test, no detailed questions about his vision. He simply cleaned the area and said continue fighting. Compare this to countless other contests where doctors have stopped fights for minor cuts near the eyebrow. Paddy's eye was swelling shut, his vision was clearly compromised, yet the doctor immediately cleared him to continue. What justifies this rushed evaluation? Why abandon standard medical protocols? Because the UFC absolutely couldn't risk having their marquee event end with a no contest ruling. They demanded a definitive winner. They wanted spectacular moments and were completely willing to risk Paddy's eyesight to achieve it. This reveals the sport's ugliest truth that everyone prefers to ignore. Entertainment value got prioritized over fighter safety and fair competition. Gaethje didn't defeat Paddy Pimblett through superior skills. He outlasted him with assistance from a permissive referee and 3 questionable officials sitting at ringside. Check out that post-fight interview as well. Gaethje stood there holding championship gold, but he didn't look like someone who had just conquered the world. He appeared relieved. He looked like someone who had barely escaped exposure. He hardly acknowledged the eye strike. He immediately tried changing the subject to Ilia Topuria. Why this deflection? Because he's aware of what transpired. He knows his victory carries permanent asterisks. He realizes that without that eye gouge, the outcome might be completely different. The audience knows this truth too. Listen to the crowd response during Gaethje's speech. Sure, there were supportive cheers, but there were equally loud boos echoing throughout the building. T-Mobile Arena fans aren't naive. They watched those replays on the big screens. They witnessed that thumb strike. They saw highway robbery happening live. Paddy Pimblett creates polarizing reactions. You might despise his personality. You might hate his antics. But that evening, he displayed the heart of a true fighter. He battled for nearly 4 complete rounds with seriously impaired vision against the division's most dangerous knockout artist. When he still managed to win multiple rounds, clearly, that performance earned recognition, not scorecard theft. So what happens next? The UFC will immediately start damage control. Dana White will hold press conferences, saying never leave it to the judges. He'll dismiss criticism by claiming it was competitive. Stop complaining. But we cannot allow this to fade into forgotten history. We must demand complete accountability. We need those scorecards broken down round by round with full explanations. We need Mark Goddard to justify why eye gouging suddenly became legal in 2020. This transcends Paddy Pimblett's individual situation. This impacts the integrity of our entire sport. If contests can be rigged this obviously, if blatant fouls can be ignored this clearly, then what exactly are we watching? Are we seeing legitimate athletic competition, or are we consuming scripted entertainment? Gaethje holds interim championship gold today, but in millions of fans' minds, that belt is completely worthless. Share your thoughts below. Do you think that eye gouge was deliberately executed? Do you believe that 49-46 scorecard proves systematic corruption? Did Joe Rogan's live commentary change how you viewed everything? Tell me if Paddy deserves an immediate rematch, or if the UFC will just proceed with Gaethje versus Topuria while pretending this robbery never occurred. Smash that like button, send this to every fight fan you follow, and subscribe, because we'll keep investigating this scandal until the complete truth emerges. The entire world is watching UFC. You can't erase video evidence, you can't hide that thumb strike, and you definitely can't hide reality. Justice for Paddy.